Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the newest episode of the Theater Enthusiast podcast. To say I am beyond delighted to welcome this next guest. I don't think I told you. I mean, I told you how excited I am and honored to have you on because I've been a fan for so long, but like it goes deep.
Yeah, she's still thanking and honoring me right now, which is really weird. I don't take it well. I always like push back compliments.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
a good
this is going to be
universal
a
truth.
really awkward introduction for you.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. I adore you. I love you forever. I remember seeing a movie with you in it, didn't even know you were in it. I told my mom you were in it, and she's like, "Oh, you love him." So it goes deep, and that was over 10 years ago. So
I'm
anyway,
gonna compliment your background. Look at those shelves. Oh,
oh,
look
thank
at
you.
that artwork you've got.
Thank you.
I'm gonna deflect by giving compliments
Oh,
back.
please, this is my
Those are nice glasses,
studio
by the way.
apartment. Please enjoy the Paris poster and
Have you
other
been to Paris?
I have.
Good.
It was 7 years ago, and it was the middle of
This
summer.
sounds like like you should have a French accent. You're about to tell me this. It was seven
It
years
was
ago.
7 years ago. It was for my bleep birthday, not to age myself. And I would like to go back and enjoy it more and be there
A
longer.
croissant.
Yeah.
And people were telling me that I was a rude American.
I did only have that experience once at the Louvre, but other than that, everybody else is very nice. Yeah.
What happened at the Louvre? I want to know.
Well, let me say who you are first because we have
Okay.
okay. Anyway, Olivier and Tony Olivier winning performer, Andy Karl. Woo, yeah, whoop, whoop. There we go. Okay, let's talk Louvre. We were lost. I asked a woman for directions. She didn't seem very happy, and that's what happened.
Okay. Okay.
That's how it was. She was just very like
You're like,
sitting.
where's the Louvre? And it was like this big pyramid right behind you. Is that why
Yeah.
she was looking at you?
No, we were like
Big-
inside the Louvre trying to find
Oh,
something.
you were in?
Yeah,
Okay.
we were inside, and she was like a
Was you
security guard,
asking for
just like
something
sitting on a
obscure? Like,
chair.
where's the head of Medusa located?
Yeah,
And she was probably like,
yeah. I also ran into like some rude tourists when I was like having a moment with the Mona Lisa because I waited.
okay, can we talk about the Mona Lisa real quick? That
Yeah,
where it's
absolutely.
located,
Yeah.
and you go into that room, and
Hmm.
there's gorgeous artwork, these huge murals everywhere
Hmm.
that took people like I don't know centuries to paint. Some artists like
Yeah.
these giant, gorgeous
Mhm.
epitaphs and just amazing pieces of work. And the tiniest little painting in that room behind glass and everybody's crowded around it it's the Mona Lisa. And
Hmm.
you just the perspective of it is like it's so tiny, it's so small. And how did this painting become the notorious painting that it is? It's a real interesting question to me because I was looking around. I saw it, I saw all these people crowded around it. I don't like crowds generally, so I got in, I got my picture of the Mona Lisa, but I stepped back out, and then I just spent the rest of my time looking at these giant, beautiful paintings that are all around the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting room.
Yeah. That's so interesting you say you don't like crowds. I don't like dealing with crowds either. I remember I was walking like a few years ago on the Upper West Side and I was about to cross the street and I saw like a huge crowd of people. Then I literally said out loud, nope. And I didn't cross the street and I kept walking the other way.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with stage doors then if there's like a huge crowd of people? Like, is it because you're on the opposite side of it that it's kind of okay for you?
Um, I don't know. It was interesting. Sometimes I enjoy it. Like Groundhog Day, I so wanted everyone to have the experience that I was having on stage. And when I heard people talking about it or reflecting on the themes inside of Groundhog Day, I would sit there and I'd talk to people about it. I really wanted to, make a general contact with people because I truly believed in that show. And then some other times I was just like, I just want to get out of here. And there's so many people, and I feel terrible about not saying hi to people. But I've been pretty good with saying hello to pretty much everyone. I was just in Australia with Groundhog Day, and I would go out to the stage door, and it certainly wasn't. I guess New York seems to be, just because by sheer mass you have more crowds at the stage door.
Yeah.
Australia and London is not as much, so it was easier to like deal with that. But yeah, it's interesting. Some days are hard when you have a matinee and you're just trying to get a bite to eat in between shows. And you just want to get back and your voice is tired. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it is also a privilege that
Yeah.
so many of the show.
Well, Teeth is interesting because New World Stage doesn't like they have a stage door, but they don't have a stage door, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So that'd
Yeah,
be
they're
curious to
actually
see.
like inside. So the last show I did at New World Stages was Altar Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, OG cast.
Yeah. Oh, we could talk about it. It's on. I do my research on people. It's on my list.
Yeah, and funny enough, dealing with like, religion there and now back playing a pastor. This is
Yeah.
this is the only show I've done there since. And I feel like in a way that the pastor, a little bit of me is like drawing from Luke as if he'd had some like, crazy life journey and fell into some wormhole of religion and became like overzealous with everything. And then he turned up as the pastor now. So I'm pulling a little Luke from Altar Boys into one of
Yeah.
the roles that I'm playing in Teeth.
I feel like you need to watch like these religious cult documentaries now.
Oh
Just,
yeah,
oh yeah. Just like give me a documentary about like a cult, like a religious cult or like a sex cult.
you're there.
I'm there. Not like
Yep.
a cult where they like murder everybody, but
Oh, it's all manipulation. It's all
yeah.
like gaining so much power to have people following you and listening to your every word, and then the power you have to be able to
Mhm.
say, if you do this, you will honor me. Therefore, you're honoring the great power of the universe, and therefore, you're doing right by what you believe. I think it's so interesting. All that Scientology stuff is really cool. Cool, I say, in the way of it's an interesting psychological
Yeah.
dive to who we are as humans and what our weak points are and strong points
Yeah. Wow, this is such great research for you for teeth coming up next month at New World Stages. Get your
at New
ticket
World
now.
Stages. That's right.
There you go.
My return to New
Your-
World Stages.
The return to New World Stages and to New York. So let's start at the very beginning, Mr. Andy Karl. Where are you from?
Baltimore, Maryland.
And
Uh,
oh, sorry, continue.
okay.
You didn't mean
No.
to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just going to go into geography. It's 4
Go ahead.
hours south of New York City, and that's where I started doing some theater when I was a kid. I 16, 17 started doing like the high school play or musical, not the
Not,
titled high school musical. That
I
wasn't
think
even.
it wasn't around at that point.
No, 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 no.
Age
High
anybody,
schools were,
but yeah,
uh, Lil Abner and Oklahoma
mhm.
and was it South Pacific or something? Maybe. Anything goes. Those are the three I did in my high school.
Which ironically was the first Broadway show you saw with Patti LuPone, right? Anything goes?
Ooh, yeah, yeah. My parents took me up to go see a show in New York, which I had never been, and they took me to go see Anything Goes, and I saw Patty freaking LuPone.
Yeah. What a
Uh,
great like person to see in your first Broadway show.
yeah, I mean, I own like because I wasn't like I'm a theater fan. I wasn't really like, oh, this is my life journey right now. I wasn't really deep. The only two musicals I kind of knew were Tommy and Jesus Christ Superstar. And so when I went to go see my first Broadway show, it was more about the spectacle and the set and like people do this for a living and this is amazing. So yeah, it was that and Into the Woods and Phantom of the Opera. When I came up from Baltimore to go see Phantom of the Opera, and that was beautiful.
Yeah. Would you ever want to do Phantom just out of curiosity? Because I know that like when they did the movie with Gerard Butler, they're like, the Phantom's supposed to have more of like a rock voice.
Hmm. Yeah, I was actually offered it shortly after Groundhog Day to play the Phantom, and I said, "There is no way I'm doing this. I have heard some beautiful voices do the Phantom, and I have a good voice, but I have heard some of the I have heard it done so well. There was some guy who was doing it, I think at the time, um, and he sang at a convention, some sort of convention in Cleveland. There's like this out of town thing you do when you're trying to promote shows for tours, and I was doing Groundhog Day, and he was doing the Phantom, and he sounded so gorgeous. And I was like, you have to be that level. If you're going to do Phantom of the Opera, let's honor the show by having beautiful voices sing this music. And there's just one of those things I was like, you know what? That's not my perfection. Maybe I could train for it. Maybe I could find out. But at the time, it was just like I just come off of Groundhog Day. My voice sounded like it had been through a meat grinder from all the yelling and screaming and jumping and dehydration. And I was like, I don't feel like doing this right now. I don't think I'm going to be right for it. You have to know your limits, I think, at some point, or at least
Yeah.
take the challenges where you can. You can push past them. But that one at that particular time, I was like, thank you. I don't think I'll be as good as some people are in that role.
You know what, though? It is always rumored to be coming back.
Mm.
You never know down the line. Voice lessons.
Always run a business. Spare me these unending trials. Maybe I could be one of those guys.
Thank you. Like, Andy Karl just sang on my podcast. Bye, we're good.
No, that was an early morning. What is it? It's 11:17.
Yeah. Early morning vocal warm up.
Haven't done that yet, obviously.
Well, it sounded good to me. I don't know.
Thank you.
I sang at a cabaret I hosted and I still have PTSD from it. So, yeah,
When was this? Was this recently?
like 2 years ago.
Still, yeah, PTSD. Have you sang?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I sing in my apartment all the time, but I hadn't sung in over like 10 years in person. And then at the cabaret, I sang a song from South Pacific, and I fucking love South Pacific. And I was
Mhm.
wearing a green sequin jumpsuit. And the thoughts I had were, I just said the word green. I sound nervous. I have vibrato. And then I like ran off the stage and I can't,
Oh
sorry,
God,
thinking
sorry.
about it.
I mean,
I'm
it
sorry.
also sounds like you put more pressure on yourself than actually needed. Um,
Yeah, which tends to happen. I mean, a lot of performers, I'm sure, go through that, but I mean, somebody who's not a performer, who just likes to sing around their apartment, and it's like, I'm going to sing at this cabaret, and did, and is still petrified, not petrified, traumatized.
Trauma. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, we need to get through this. But
Yeah.
every time I sing at like a concert where I'm not behind a character,
Yeah.
it's always a little tentative because I'm like, hey guys, here, listen to me sing
Hmm.
this song that I like. Um, and if you're not into haven't sort of dove into some way of approaching the song, or you're telling a story, you're just singing it. For me, that always gets a little like I'm nervous. So I guess my choices are always to find a way to get into some sort of character. And I'm not saying like, mustaches and hats. I'm just trying to think like psychologically put myself into the scene when I'm singing that
Yeah.
song. And it helps to alleviate some of the everybody's looking at me vibe that you might be going through. So next time you do it,
I'll
choose
put
a
on a
character.
fake
Yeah,
mustache.
fake mustache,
Fake
maybe a wig.
mustache.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all about wigs and mustaches. I like them.
Well,
Um,
you have played many characters with a good mustache.
yeah, I had that mustache for on the 20th century, which just like in daily life when you have a pencil mustache, it's a little creepy
Well,
outside
I
of
mean, John Waters, he rocks out that pencil thin.
yeah, but he lives in the creepy. He's like,
Yeah.
I want to set people off a little. He grew up. He's from Baltimore,
Yeah.
Maryland. Uh,
Hmm.
grew up uh, like 3 blocks from where I grew up. So he was
Wow.
in Lutherville, Maryland, where I'm from. He was on a different side of. He grew obviously older than I am, but he went to my high school, and so did Divine, and I am privileged to have walked the same steps as John Waters and
I
Divine.
think now we had to get you in like a John Waters film, or a film turned into a musical of John Waters.
That's my
Eh, I've always said they should revive Hairspray. So, Corny Collins, why not?
yeah. Yeah, hon. I even gave you a little bit of Balmer accent before that. That's this happening right now. I got
Oh, nice.
Balmer all the way.
All the way. So let's talk so you were doing all of the performances in high school. Um, what made you decide on the college you went to? Because you were studying voice and music and you were going to do vocal coaching. Is that
Yeah, I mean, that
right?
was kind of a plan at the time. That was
Mhm.
so long ago. Maybe I could do that. I just had music around the house. My mother played organ for her church, piano. That's how I sort of found musicals in general with the LP albums that my mother had. Those nice sized albums. They're coming back. They're making a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and so I guess music was always inherently around the house, and therefore I was kind of the only one in the family that sort of could sing, no, or found joy in singing, and started singing in the chorus of my elementary school, and went into high school, and naturally followed some way of following music, studying music. Did about 2 years at Towson State University and realized when it was about the same time that I started doing theater on the side. Uh, I was more involved with performance than teaching, and just said, you know what, I'm going to give this a go and never look back. And didn't finish to get my degree, but
But I think you're
I got a
you're
degree in
okay.
like I got an
Yeah.
Olivier over there, right? That
Yeah,
counts.
that's fine.
Maybe
It's like,
I don't
the Olivier is your degree and your Tony
know. Right.
nominations and your Drama Desk nominations. And I will say,
17 degrees.
saying that reminded me of that video you posted on Instagram of yourself in the future talking
Oh
about
yeah.
Groundhog Day. Just brilliant. Chef's kiss.
Thank you. Thank you. There was one talking to, yeah, there was one I was like, how am I handling this?
Yeah,
And it's true. I was thinking about those things when I was doing Groundhog Day each time. I was like, got to talk to my future self and what does this mean? And what does this mean for your ego? And it's really to get the great opportunity to repeat a show.
yeah,
Um, which I was trying to think of who's done that. I guess like Alan Cumming did it with Cabaret. But I had the cool opportunity of repeating Groundhog Day as a show about repeating oneself, about growth, and about the journey of life, and about what is important in life. And so after like 6 years of doing it the first time, there's so much that happens in between and so much life that you can, learn and bring into the show. There was more to bring into it. And that was just a really cool journey. And so I decided to, I don't know, write a short script about it
mhm,
to talk to myself from the past and talk to myself in the future.
yeah. Well, it's also, I was thinking, it's just like a really weird paradox that you're doing this musical called Groundhog Day 8 times a week. So it's like you're doing the same show about repeating the same thing every single day. Is that like a weird mind fuck?
Yeah, like I described it one day to somebody as like it's like living in the Marvel universe and doing the multi universes,
Yeah,
seeing the same show but with different people playing the characters. They're like,
yeah.
kind of like there's what's that one Marvel universe series that does that? I can't remember. In any case, all
Like
the
pure
everything is
Marvel.
multi-universe now. The
Yeah.
Deadpool does multi-universe.
Oh,
So that's what it was like for me. It was like meeting new people doing the same thing, but at a different position in life, and everybody's approaches to it might be slightly varied, and the dynamics of my life are changing
mhm.
within it. So it was uh it was cool. And yeah, really, I thought about it all the time. I still do. If I really got into it, I started writing a book about my experience with it this last time I was in Australia. So I got to about 150 pages, just sort of describing
Mhm.
the things that were happening at the time, and also what was happening in my life, and how I accessed it all. And I was like, I wonder if anybody will read this. But I felt like I should be writing this down. In any case, I have yet to finish a book about uh, me in Groundhog Day
I
called,
think you should. I think it'll be featured at the drama bookshop. It'll
yeah,
be sold at like every show that you're at. That
okay.
that. I mean, I used to do merch at shows, so if like somebody wrote a book, we would always like sell their book, or if they had a CD,
Yeah.
we would sell their CD. So that's like people are fans of yours, Mr. Andy Karl. They will read it.
Yeah, I wanted it to just be like, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
The life I'm privileged to live within this show, but also maybe some of the lessons and perspectives, and what's in the future. And Groundhog Day asks all of that within the show itself, but also, you know,
Do
I
you
can
see
answer some of
there
them.
being like more of a future with Groundhog Day? Like they did London twice, New York, Australia. Do you see it going anywhere else in the world that you would possibly go with it?
I would never turn it down. It was beautiful each time to do it and learn something new each time. It's I don't know whether it's going to go. I'm sure it'll have some other life at some point.
Mhm.
Whether that's with me or not, I don't care. The show needs to be seen and it should be seen, and it is a really good piece of theater. And yeah, we had when we did the revival in London, it was the actual producers of the old Vic were like, I don't know if it'll do well because it had its life and Broadway wasn't like a smash. So they brought it back to the old Vic and it crushed it, like, sold out, box office, breaking box office records for the theater. People were coming in droves to see it. And I guess it probably played better overseas. I'm not so sure. Either way, people really respected it. Um, and it was also a time in my life where I was just like, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I don't have to think about award shows and making press and flesh and doing all this stuff. I just want to concentrate on this show. It taught me a lesson in like, do the thing that you love, not don't try to like do all this other crap that's around it. That's not important. The important thing is the show, always, obviously. Um, but it just crushed. And they were like, oh, we should probably put this in a theater in the West End, and there was nothing available. And so they were like, well, maybe we should take it to Australia. And since there's a theater there, we can at least like keep the ball rolling with it. And it went over there and it crushed. People loved it. Reviews are amazing, as it always has been with that show. People really love Groundhog Day as soon as they find out about it.
Yeah.
And after that, there was no theaters available to put it in. So that's where we ended with it because there's a lot of content out there and people are putting up shows and having great success.
Yeah.
And we'll see where, Groundhog Day lands. But as of now, I have no idea.
I was actually in London last year when Groundhog Day was playing, and I don't remember why I didn't see it. I don't know if like time-wise it didn't work out getting a ticket, but I was like by the old Vic. I'm like, oh shit, this is where it is, and this is where Groundhog Day is playing. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, it was there. People came to see it, so we were very, very happy.
that's great. So let's like backtrack a little because I know we like
Okay.
let's talk highlights though. So I was a huge fan of The Wedding Singer. You were in The Wedding Singer towards the end of its run. Also, you made your Broadway debut in Saturday Night Fever. How was that for you? Like making your Broadway debut in Saturday Night Fever?
It was great. Always scary and a challenge. Oh God, this is Broadway. Let's do our best work. And there was some amazing dancing in that. Dancing that I was probably not as qualified to do as I was cast. So when I was rehearsing for the show, I was going to rehearsal and I would learn all these partnering moves and all the stuff, and then I would hire a rehearsal room 2 hours later to just spend 2 hours going over everything because I wanted to be good. This is
Yeah.
Broadway. Let's do this. So it was one of those things I dedicated a lot of my dance time to. But it was great. Andy Blankenbuehler was in that show as well. That was back in the day when Andy was acting, and yeah, some just like great memories from that, but really just worked my ass off.
Yeah. And then you went on tour with it as Tony. And I
Mhm.
also just need to shout out how you did the national tour of Cats. So
Oh
would you
yeah.
like a pretty good dancer? I mean, from what I've seen, movement wise, dance wise, you're good, but you're like, I'm a dancer. I can do this.
Yeah, I was a mover. I still think I'm a pretty good mover. Dancer, yeah. Like I can learn stuff. I actually would like to dance more. Um, So yeah, I'll take that. But there are some dancers out there that I see that are just they're just baller. It's amazing. So I always say, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like a jack of all trades
Yeah.
type
I
of
mean, listen, you were dancing through life um
guy.
for some of your shows. I watched your dancing through life on YouTube before this interview.
See, I've done some of the
Yeah,
Wicked.
you
Yeah,
know.
I thought it was a pretty good mover in that one.
Yeah.
Comparatively, like
Yeah.
you look on YouTube, then like other performances will pop up, and you'd be like, oh, all right, okay. I kept up with the kids. I
Yeah,
was.
but you did some Irish dance steps in Legally Blonde.
Mhm.
Yeah. I also, so everybody, like, I don't want to say like your big breakout was Legally Blonde, but like a lot of people know you from Legally Blonde as the
Right.
UPS guy. I want to talk about the search for the next Elle Woods,
Okay.
like heavily featured in that as like the Emmett part. How is doing that reality show?
It was random. Those reality shows are so random. I didn't know what I was doing. But I know Christian like couldn't do some of the filming, so they were like, "Would you mind doing Emmett for some of these casting things?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." Um, yeah, it was fun, but it's reality shows are that was the one and only I've ever done, and I had no idea what was going on. And I don't think anybody actually knows except
Yeah.
for the camera crew. They're just capturing as much as they can. So yeah, it was cool and weird, and I'm sure that's how the women felt on that reality show. It's like, oh, this is fantastic, but it's weird. And are we being cast for something? And what are we supposed to say? And is it
Yeah.
scripted and all that kind of stuff? But the stuff that I did was actually scripted because I had to sing from the show.
Yeah. And also, if anybody's listening, if you want to see Andy as Emmett, there are YouTube clips or videos
Yeah,
out there of
what
you
a
as
great,
Emmett.
what a great part.
Uh,
And Christian Borle did such a great job carving it out.
yeah.
And to watch him perform it, I was like, oh, I see what you're doing, and I get the tone of what you're doing, and his comedy is thrown in there as well, and I think he was, it was terrific to take that into perspective and sort of just like follow that role that he carved out. I had that with Groundhog Day with my friend Andrew Karl, who
Mhm.
covered me on Broadway. He said the same thing to me. Uh, After he had gone on, after
Yeah.
my injury and stuff, he's like, man, I was like, I see what you're doing. I see how you carved out this role in order to make it work with, you know, this, and this.
Yeah.
So it's nice to like know that perspective on one end from, covering somebody and then having somebody else cover you and say the same thing. So I felt like I did my due diligence.
Yeah. So while you were doing Legally Blonde, you were also working on 9 to 5.
Is that true?
Well, according to my research, it is. I just want to mention 9 to 5
Oh,
because you worked directly with my name doppelganger.
with Allison Tenney.
Yeah, Allison, 2 letter difference.
Allison Janney. I get it. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Um, I was I love that you're putting it all together, and I'm like, you know what? Gotcha.
Like,
Right.
wait, what's your first and last name? I will say I staged doored 9 to 5 just to meet her and tell her my name. And so like I'm sure it's very odd for anybody like on who's like not on the fan side of the stage door when somebody's like, I've always wanted to tell you this. And they're like, okay. So I said, your name is Allison Janney. I'm Allison Tanny.
And I'm
So
sure she's like very receptive. She's a nice
she
person.
was. She was like, Allison Tanny. I was like, yeah, with 1 L and a T. And she goes, Allison Tanny. I was like, yeah. She's like, that's so funny. It's like, I know. And then I just like went into a puddle and died. So
Amazing. Yeah, that's probably going to be her nom de plume or something, written
she
by
probably
Allison.
doesn't remember, which is fine. I had that moment and there we go. So 9 to 5 happens. How was that for you? Creating
They're great, Allison Janney. Yeah, amazing leader of a show. That was one of the times where you just watch somebody who takes who's such a good leader of people, and everybody looked up to her, and and how she led, and also with Megan and Stephanie. It's just I mean, come on, Megan
yeah.
Hilton, Stephanie Block, Allison Janney, killing, crushing the show.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was such a fun
Mark
show too.
Kudish.
Yeah.
And I was this random role that wasn't in the movie that they had written in as sort of like a love interest for Allison Janney's role for Violet. My name was Joe. And it was, I was just out of my league as far as an actor with Allison Janney because West Wing had and just everything that she had done up until that point, and here I am, just like some random guy who played who was in Legally Blonde at the time, playing a UPS guy, and but she was just so gracious, and she was like just a really really good leader and friend, and still to this day we'll text each other, or I'll come out to LA and say hi, let's grab lunch, and she's totally into it. She's just genuinely wonderful. On top of that, Dolly Parton, the same.
Yeah.
She is exactly how you'd imagine her, and sweet and nice and smart, and like a friend for life. Like once you're there, it's just like she's all about it. She's so appreciative. And after 9 to 5, I think I did Wicked after that, and then did a movie with Dolly Parton within like 6 months of working with her. So I was like, how is this my life right now?
So, you know how I said to you there was a movie that I saw that I didn't realize you were in? And then I told my mom, like, Andy Karl, it was A Joyful Noise.
Joyful Noise.
And this girl, I'm not friends with this person anymore, but she and I went to see Joyful Noise, mostly Jeremy Jordan. And we were the only two people in the movie theater. And like,
Shit.
we fucking loved it.
It's joyful and noise, and it was that was special to work with Dolly Parton, but also like Kiki Palmer and Jeremy Jordan. I mean, it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. I just they my part was Caleb, and just I thought I could had a great idea of having like a soul patch on on my face, and it just looked awful. So I was like the whole movie, I'm like, that was a bad choice. But
It worked
it
for the
was my
character.
but my dancing skills were put to use. They gave me like this huge dance solo in the middle of this big number at the end, and I'm doing split leaps and all this kind of stuff, and yeah, and just yeah, right before Queen Latifah comes out and sings. So yeah, it was beautiful. Like I guess that was my first feature film I had ever done, being on
Yeah.
a set in Atlanta.
How did that movie even come to you? Did you have to audition or what was that like?
The director had known and seen me in a bunch of stuff, and was like, so yeah, you can't had me audition, and he was just kind of like a fan of things that I had done, and it just worked out. Did the audition process, sang, and then um it was just go from there. It was really interesting to do like a movie. It's not a musical, but it has music, so we did have like certain sections of this that were musicalized, and so I went to a studio and sang all this stuff, and like did all this recording, and it was cool. I was You just get to learn so much on some sort of set like that. How does this all operate?
Yeah. For those listening, like it's the movie is so delightful. And if and when it's ever on TV, I do actually watch it because it's a really adorable movie.
It is. It really is. It really is. And
Another church movie, another church related religious thing you worked on.
I'm all
Mm.
about some sort of religious connection. We'll find it.
Yeah, it's only three projects or your third one coming up. We'll find it in the other things, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. If you look at Groundhog Day, pretty close. It's got some Buddhism in there.
Yeah, just trying to think I'm looking at the list of other things. Jersey Boys, I don't know, nothing. Mystery of Edwin Drood. I will say, so you know the thing like people are like, if you could ever go back in time to see a show, what would it be? Mine would be Edwin Drood. I live around the corner from the theater. I do not know why I never saw it, and I still kick myself to this day for not seeing it.
I had no idea what I was getting into with that show.
Oh wow.
When I got cast, and I was like, what is this? I was like, this can't possibly work. It worked back in the day, but probably not now. And another one. I have a very limited view on like what will work and what won't work, and what will sell and what won't sell. As it's all a big risk anyway. But Mystery of Edwin Drood was such a blast. And yeah, just there were certain moments that I remember, being voted as, lovers with Cheetah Rivera or Jesse Mueller. Just to die laughing on stage, like your stomach is hurting while you're doing a show because you're holding in such laughter. That show was joy. Yes. It ended up being so much fun. So I have really good memories of that.
That's great. And so let's talk Rocky now. How did Rocky come into your life? Was this like this is your first like lead in a musical, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as far as like, yeah, I was doing a brand new show, brand new lead on Broadway. It was really like, and that one especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone, like, having say over who's being cast and you know, making the choice to have me. I thought I've just answered all my childhood dreams right now. Um, Funny enough, I just met a dog named Rocky this morning.
Oh,
Which
there you go.
and so it'll follow me everywhere through dogs or performances. It was that was like when I got that role, I was like, holy shit, I got this role. This is amazing. Now I've got a mountain to climb. And at the time I was prepared mentally. I was like, I'm doing this. If anything, I locked into that idea of like, what will how hard will you fight to get something? And Rocky was one of those, like, I physically, mentally, I will connect to this in any way possible. I'll make sure that they know that I truly believe in the spirit of Rocky. And I do, and I did, everybody does believe in the underdog story. And I thought it sort of was matching up with my life as well at the time. It was like, I get my shot, Rocky gets his shot at, for the title in the movie and in the musical. And you know, basically just like, forward footed on that. I was like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna take everything to heart. And I truly did. And it was blood, sweat, and tears. I got hit in the face a lot. I got my nose broken a little. I got black eyes. I lots like plantar fasciitis from running and exercising way too much and fighting
Wow.
on stage. But all truly worth it. Like that's if you wanted to know what the experience of being a fighter was, I think I proved myself in the ring with that show. Yeah,
So
I
So
plenty.
in my research of like people who I've come on, I like watch show clips and everything. So when I was going back to Rocky, I'm so curious to know, especially during the boxing matches, like when they moved the audience onto the stage and they brought the boxing ring out, what for that fight sequence, what was the choreography or the fight choreography like for that? And did it
Yes.
ever get like a little sloppy? Because you said like you've gotten bruises, you had a partial broken nose.
Yep. Yep. Steve Hoggett, who he's a great choreographer. He did all the Harry Potter stuff. That's a lot of his staging is there. He was
Also
our
did
fight
one.
choreographer. What's that?
I think he also did once.
Once? Yes,
Yeah.
yes, done that as well. So great experimental guy.
Oh,
And Kelly Devine did the choreography, some of the dance choreography for Rocky too. Don't want to leave her out. So, we spent so much time working on that fight choreography and how much pressure we put in the hits. Our gloves had some extra padding on it, but we were definitely making full contact. It's just that I knew every count that was coming. Um, so I could roll with the punches, and that's kind of, where that term comes from. You can get hit, but you can roll with it. You're not tensed up and getting actually knocked out.
mhm.
So we found out that science of how much pressure can you put in a punch, how much you have to take back, how much you to make it look real, making the contact, blood everywhere. Um, it's like once you learn all the choreography, then you have to learn all the makeup choreography and how blood packs are in your gloves or in your mouth or being applied to your face. Everything is happening all at once. There's cameras in your face while you're doing this, and everything's being put up on a screen on the above your head and lights everywhere. So, and while the ring is turning as well, we had a ring that actually turned at the same time. So it was a lot to take in, and I thank my dance background for that.
Nice.
Um, but it was, yeah. Sometimes I would get hit a little hard if it's just it only takes a small percentage of not getting the right amount or putting too much into your punch that can really hurt. So my I got punched in the face a lot, and definitely once a show, if not several times a week, I would get hit pretty hard. And I remember blacking out for a second and coming to, and um, I remember feeling my nose sort of crack on his forehead. And not to say it, Terrence Archie is a great guy, and he played Apollo Creed, and I love him very much. But yeah, he's a huge guy and strong, and when he gets into it, you're like, all right, um, that hurts. And it was interesting the way I would converse with him, because I can't actually say stuff to him in a fight.
Mhm.
So uh, I would if he hit me really hard, I would hit him back really hard. And that's the way we spoke.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, we need to back off somehow. So if I'd get hit in the head really hard, and I was like, I'm gonna give one to his abdomen, and so that's how we spoke on stage. And that's a horrible way to speak. I don't recommend it for people who are fighting, but it was a way we found to actually speak to one another on stage.
So if there's ever a Rocky revival, take note. Don't communicate that way.
You can. It's just gonna hurt.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
yeah.
So my guilty pleasure musical is Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Can we
Yeah.
talk about it?
Sure.
Come into your life. What was it like playing Edward Lewis?
The out of town tryouts were in Chicago, and Steve Kazee had to drop out. And I worked with Jerry Mitchell on Legally Blonde and a couple of other readings and stuff like that. And he asked me if I was interested, and I had just come from shooting some pilot in Portland, and I was like, God, this is perfect timing. Thank you. And so we talked about it, worked on it, and I talked through some of the script with him. And it was basically the movie on stage as far as script is concerned, and which leaves a lot of like unanswered questions for characters, especially Edward Lewis, because the show is all about Vivian, and
Yeah.
God bless. I am there to support the lead character in any way possible. I just wanted to give myself a little bit of like, what can I sink my teeth into, and talking to Brian Adams about some of the music and the lyrics and how can we get into stuff. So they were very collaborative. That was a cool experience in that way. But I also had about 3 weeks to learn it before we started previews on Broadway, and I was like, okay, here we go. And Yeah, it turned out to be a really, really beautiful experience. Uh, Great suits. My God, the beautiful suits that I
Yeah.
got to wear in that um, were tremendous. And funny enough, Patty LuPone had been in that dressing room. There was a show prior to that. Oh God, I can't remember the
Okay.
name of the show. But she was in that dressing room. So
Yeah.
that's my tie back into Patty LuPone.
Yeah.
After seeing her on stage as a young person, seeing a very first Broadway show.
Have you like,
Now,
because you've been in the industry for so long, I'm sure you've like met and interacted with her at some point.
no, like
Really?
I've been in the same room, but we've never had a conversation, never like done a show, never done anything like that. Um, which is fine. There's a lot of people I haven't interacted with that I'm a huge fan of and take a lot of, steal a lot of their stuff. When you're starting out, steal everything. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. And then it eventually becomes yours, and then you can find your own way.
Yeah.
So I just stealing plenty of stuff from Nathan Lane, and just like such great actors on the stage. I could just go through a list of people I've stolen from, and
Please go ahead. I'll just sit here with my mug. Tell me Nathan Lane, Patty LuPone.
Phil Connors for
Mhm.
I hadn't played a part like that before. Sort of sardonic, quick, and snarky in the
Mhm.
beginning. And I was doing Law and Order at the time. I was working with Raul Esparza.
Oh,
And his character on Law and Order, very quick, very cut to the chase.
very snarky.
Not a lot of, he could be in court and cut people down, or at least like get to the. And I was like, that's it. That was my first tie into who Phil Connors was. Uh, it, I created my own version of things since then. But when I had to audition for it, I was like, where am I going to find this guy from? And I saw Raul on the set one day, kind of being that guy, and he was my first inspiration for Phil Connors.
It's amazing. Let's talk about Law and Order SVU. I
Sure.
I don't like watching your season because I know you die and it's very
Yeah.
upsetting. And I
Yeah.
just like remember you like dying in the hospital bed and like your face and being loopy. Yeah.
So sad. It was so sad.
Yeah. I
Um,
think
yeah, Peter Gallagher, who played my father on the show,
also
he's
on the 20th century.
he's watching me as I'm in a coma, and he
Mm.
had this scene with Mariska that just like when he breaks down and cries, it is one of like it's hard to watch when you watch that scene on television. Like, man, it was a beautiful performance because it's like he's speaking as a strong captain and father at the time and just trying to explain the facts, and then just the well of emotion that just pops out of nowhere in him because he can't contain it anymore. And it was beautiful to watch someone do that as an actor and to be a part of that scene in that way. um and yeah, I was sort of just slowly dying and pale and awful and can't remember things. And it was, yeah, it was a tremendous like uh, two uh 2 episode thing that, to be shot by everybody loved Raymond's Brad Garrett.
Yeah.
And then to slowly fade away where there's you think there's hope, and then to lose hope and he actually passes away. We think he passes away. Do we
Yeah.
really know? Maybe
I
he'll
don't
be.
know. Because I think you like somebody interviewed you about like coming back on. He's like, maybe it's a ghost. I don't remember what you said, but I mean, I remember, I can't remember what like Tony Awards it was, but I think Danny Burstein was nominated. And like the host was like, oh, yeah, so many people appeared on Law and Order, like Danny Burstein. And they just kept showing like different episodes that he was in. And there was like 8 or 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
probably has different characters too, like,
Yeah.
as he's, people got onto that show and they could stick around for a while. I unfortunately had an arc of absolute death.
Yeah.
So
But how was that going into SVU? What
it
was
was
that feeling?
like, working with Allison Janney. It's just totally scary. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to work with these amazing professionals that I've seen on my screen for the past 17 years, and I'm going to be the new guy. It felt a little new guy-ish that way. I also hadn't done a lot of television, so the scheduling for me is like, I'm used to 2.5 hours of being on, and on a set for SVU, it's like here's 3 to 4 hours of sitting around, waiting for them to get lighting correct for a different scene. So you'll eventually shoot that, and then we'll call you at the last second. Are you guys ready? And you're like, oh, okay, great. Where's my energy? I'll find it. Or you try to use that energy in when you're sitting around and be like, I'm ready to go, and then you realize you're just exhausted by the time you get on set. So it was managing energy for me was the big thing. But once you got the flow of it, it was really nice to see a well-oiled machine work like that. And people brought their A game all the time, and working with like Mariska and Ice-T, who I like. Ice-T is just the coolest guy. He's super, super smart too, and he has a way of like putting perspectives on things that you weren't thinking about. Yeah, it's Peter Scandavino was he became sort of like my friend to like sort of gently show me the way
Mhm.
of how things work. So I would get offered 3 episodes at a time, basically like, here's your chance to prove yourself, and then we'll give you 3 more here, and then if that's good, we'll give you 5 more. So it ended up being about 17 episodes that I did, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was I think by my third episode is when it was like my case.
Hmm.
It was cool. And sort of the storyline was based around what I was discovering and what was going around, and how I was reacting to it. And Ice-T was like, I think by the second episode, he's like, everybody's gonna get their chance to show themselves. Like do the job that you're hired for right now. You will get your shot. The camera's going to be on you at a certain point. And I got that moment happen to me. And I was like, oh, this is this is beautiful. I get to have this arc of what my perspective is in SVU, who this character is. Um, yeah, it was little moments like that were just amazing. Also seeing some of the most incredible parts of New York City that you had never seen before. You walk by a million times, but then you're on a set of SVU and they take you inside a church you've never been to before. Or we shot at Rikers Island, and we shot in a jail upstate with actual prisoners around, and like really cool stuff you never get a chance to unless you're on the set of a
Yeah.
of an amazing television show.
Yeah. So because we've mentioned Groundhog Day quite a lot. How did that come to you? Was that a direct offer? Did you have to audition for it?
I auditioned for it. While I was doing SVU, I had gotten a call from Matthew Warchus to go meet him, and I met him at some random hotel somewhere, and he talked about Groundhog Day, and I was like, oh, like I was like Bill Murray's version and of Groundhog Day, and I was like, wow, I don't think like I've never played a part like this. He had seen me in On the 20th Century, and I think he had seen me in Rocky, so he knew I could handle physical comedy. And he's like, I'm looking for kind of a clown. And I was like I was like, is that a compliment? Um, it was somebody who could handle the comedy on top of handling some of the esoteric ideas of it. And I was so happy that he thought of me. And I was kind of like, oh, wow. Now, how the hell am I going to do this? He played me the first track, which is, he played me day one, which is where Phil wakes up in his first day in Puxatawny and sort of singing about like this town just filled with people that I'm not really fond of, and everybody's really happy around him, and he sort of plays this like sardonic talking out of the side of his mouth type of guy. And it was brilliant. It was genius. You ever saw, yeah, like hearing Tim Minchin go through all this like different musical tones and styles all within this one piece, and all these characters interjecting, and how's he going to get through this? It was, it was genius. He played me that one song, and I literally said, well, that's fucking genius. Um, and then he's like, here, look at the script. And I want you to come in and audition for it. And I read the script, and I was like blown away by what they were doing with the script, from a movie adaptation. Truly like beautiful. Like, oh my God, I have to do this role now. If like I could see it once I read the script, I was like, I can see everything you're doing. And then I came in. I was having the best of both worlds. I was shooting SVU down the street on like 46th Street, and I had to come over to someplace in the 20s to go for my audition. And still had my day makeup on from SVU, so I looked pretty smooth. Um, but I felt like I was winning at that time and auditioning for something that was really beautiful, and it all worked out very well. And then I was being offered it, and then I found out I was being killed on SVU, so it kind of perfectly worked.
Yeah, getting killed and then Groundhog Day repeating and then killing yourself on Groundhog Day because you knew no consequences. Wow, like very mindfucky.
Yeah, you can really draw from pretty much everything and utilize it for Groundhog Day, especially just I don't know, where life lines up with
Mhm.
certain roles that you get. I think is great. I think that same way about Teeth. In a way, I'm like, it's time. It's time for me to play, I guess, quote unquote, the villain, but also in a show that is really, really pushing the line with things. And it's. I know it has a big fan base of people who just like loved it from Playwrights Horizons. I didn't see it. Unfortunately, I was in Australia at the time, but I did see a workshop of Teeth 8 years ago. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, it was kicking around back then, and it was different in some ways, but they did have a similar ending, which I won't give away. Um, and I thought that's crazy. How are they going to do that? There's no way.
Yeah.
And again, Steve Pascal, who's just an amazing performer, was playing the part at Playwrights Horizons, and for them to consider me in that level is fantastic. And I will bring what I can, but I didn't actually see him do it, so I have no idea what he did. So I'm going to try to bring my own thing.
Yeah.
So when I read the script, I was like, oh, this part is these parts. I play a couple of different ones are really pushing the line, and I was really more interested in how the heck is the director going to direct these scenes. Apparently very well. Yeah, Sarah Benson is she's uh, AD at Soho Rep, and she's into the avant-garde. And I think there's just gonna be like, just with Michael R. Jackson and all these people that are pushing the lines of musical theater and theater in general. I'm really looking forward to it. I saw some of the set renderings, and I've heard some of the stuff that's going to be happening, and I'm so excited. So I'm gonna bring it for this one. I'm really excited for the show.
Great. Like I said, once I get my paycheck this week, I'm gonna buy myself a ticket. So I'm
Oh yeah,
very, yeah, I'll say hi to you after. I'll try and find whatever stage door they have there and be like, hey, you were on my podcast. Nice to see you.
absolutely. I'll remember. I will definitely remember you, Allison, Janny, Tanny.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you.
and yeah, but apparently the stage doors are more inside at the New World stages
Yeah. I
for
think
that.
it's like I'm just thinking of where Heather's was. I don't know if it's the same theater because I know Teeth has a mezzanine because I was looking at tickets
Right.
earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I've been in that theater too. I saw a Great American Trailer Park in there. Altar Boys was in Theater 4, which is 99 seats,
Hmm.
which
Well,
meant we were
I've
being paid.
seen
Not so much.
shows. Do you have any like top going theater experiences?
I just saw Water for Elephants the other day, and it was beautiful, gorgeous. I mean, the acrobatics in that thing are amazing. Is Oh Mary still running? Because Oh Mary, I laughed from beginning to end. That everybody in that show was crushing it. I like again, I had like belly laughs. I laughed so hard at something that nobody else was laughing at too that uh I had to be shushed. So, I've never been shushed before. I was like, ah, ha, ha, and I'm the only one laughing. But I was laughing at everything. It was yeah, Oh Mary was terrific. I don't know, I don't know if it closed yet or not, but
No, it's on till late in November.
yes, go
Yeah.
see Oh Mary. Oh
If
my,
I win the lottery, because tickets are so expensive to see it,
there's no way to get the lottery because there isn't it like sold out? I mean,
it's very expensive.
spend the money. You will not regret it. It's one act too. I mean, look, we'll talk. Maybe I'll raise some money for you and
Yeah,
you
I'll
get
start a GoFundMe. Andy Karl says Allison should go see Oh
it.
Mary.
It's genius comedic writing.
Yeah.
Uh it's really funny twist on on history, I suppose. It's not really history, it's just like
Yeah.
insane person's version of, I don't want to say insane because the writing is freaking genius. Um and the physical comedy and the writing are so good. I'm trying to think of anything else that I had seen. I haven't
It
seen any
doesn't have to be anything recent, like just in your lifetime of seeing shows.
of seeing shows in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Tommy changed my life. I hear that's coming back. Um,
Well, it already came and left.
it literally came and left already? No, it
Yeah,
didn't.
Tommy, it
I've been
happened.
out of town. I've been out of
Yeah.
town.
Tommy, it was nominated for revival and it closed like the beginning of the month or end of last month.
Oh, that's sad. That was my whole reason for moving up to Baltimore was to go see Tommy. I was like, if this stuff is happening on Broadway, I want to be a part of it. I was like, that's it. I've made my decision. I'm going to go to New York and try to make it. Trying to think of any other shows. I do want to see Sunset Boulevard. I hear it's pretty gonna be pretty amazing.
Yeah. And back at the Winter Garden, and not the Winter Garden. Wow, what am I thinking? Back to the St. James, read it Into the Woods.
That was a bucket list show for me. I loved doing Into the Woods, and it was such a good production. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
When you went into the woods, I missed it because I had COVID and I was so pissed off. It was like I had like a top three reasons of like why I was pissed I had COVID. I was like, I'm missing Harry Styles. I had a ticket to see him. I eventually did. I'm
Oh,
missing my friend's
geez.
bridal shower. And I said, I'm missing Andy Karl and Into the Woods because I had
The
COVID.
three things that can't be missed.
Yeah, Andy Karl and Into the Woods.
Yeah,
I Do you
Styles.
have any like
The same.
dream? I'm sorry.
Mentioned in the same sentence as Harry Styles.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I mean, I eventually did see Harry Styles. I didn't get to see you in Into the Woods, but do you have any like dream roles or projects or like any like movies that you want to do as a musical? I will say, like, if they ever do that thing you do, I can see you as Mr. White, as Tom
Okay.
Hanks. And I've
Okay.
said that to myself for years.
I haven't seen that show in a long, long time. I can't remember. I don't even think I've sat through that entire thing. I think uh, uh
I was also just watching it before we started chatting.
so I
So
was watching Liar Liar last night. I think they should do a musical of Liar Liar.
I could
I,
see you
I
in
was
that.
I was in the BMI music theater writing course years ago while I was doing Legally Blonde. And that was one of the projects one of the things you had to do for one of the classes is write a song from a scene from Liar Liar. That's one and I was like, oh, I just remember that. And what a great performance from Jim Carrey, but also like a great concept. And everything sort of revolves around. It's interesting how the redemption happens, and you're like, oh, this is a Christmas Carol. Oh, this is like Groundhog Day. Everything sort of comes back to somebody who's like really not a good person in the beginning, and he learns his lesson through some sort of magic, and then becomes grateful for everything that he has in his life. And those are the roles that are, mwah. Those are the Bill Murray roles. Those are the Andy Karl roles, if I can
Huh.
talk to myself in third person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we can throw a Phantom in there for you after, a few more voice lessons,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And a mask.
And why not? Maybe that can be your Halloween costume.
Yeah. And actually, funny enough, that Teeth, let's bring it back there, is
Yeah.
opening uh on Halloween. I believe they're opening on Halloween.
I did
Uh
not see tickets available for that day, so I'm just going to go
I
based on
think
what
that's
they're.
what they're shooting for. That's the opening. So that's what I've heard. Let's not quote me on that, but that's what
Yeah.
I've been sort of told that that's what they're looking at. So wouldn't that be perfect if Teeth
Yeah.
thing
I
had the
would-
New World stages
Yeah.
uh in theater, I don't know, theater number one, whatever it is that has the mezzanine.
Whatever
Go
theater.
it's going to be crazy. And I hear that, yeah, I hear all sorts of things. I feel like I can't, like, I just talk to the director the other day. I'm like, oh, she told me this, and like, oh, that's exciting, but maybe I
Start
should
rehearsals
talk
yet
to
for
you
that?
about it. What's that?
Did you start rehearsals yet?
No, next week.
Oh,
So
that's exciting.
I didn't even start rehearsal. I say a few songs in my living room, but as
That's
far as
great.
that, I haven't worked with anyone except for Elise, who's the lead character of Dawn. We did Bright Lights, Big City in Philadelphia years ago, and we were just young chickens back then. And now I'm getting an opportunity to work with her again, and I think that was right after Alta Boys. Oh my gosh, everything's coming back full circle. When you've been in the business as long as I have, you eventually repeat something,
Yeah.
and I am doing that, going back to the New World stages.
So we do have like a minute or so left. Do you want to do the actor studio questions or do you want to just be like, I need to leave? Totally.
I need to be somewhere at 12:30, so I'm
That's
gonna have to
fine.
leave, like, maybe have 5 minutes.
Sure. Okay. We'll do this quickly. Are you ready?
Sure.
What is your favorite word?
Curse word is just word.
Word. Curse
Um,
word is coming in a few questions.
awesome.
Cool. What is your least favorite word?
No.
What turns you on?
Passion
What turns you off?
turns me off. God, what turns me off? I really want to go nasty with this, but
Please go ahead. It's whatever you're feeling in the moment.
what turns me off? I don't like birds all that much.
Okay. What is your favorite curse word?
Motherfucker.
It's so funny because like when I found out you were doing my podcast, I was like, Andy fucking Carl, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
then I was saying to myself, Andy motherfucking Carl is doing my podcast. So I have used your favorite.
Allison motherfucking Tanny is interviewing me. Come
Oh
on
my
now.
God, stop it. I just died. I just died.
Allison motherfucking Tanny. That actually feels good. Andy motherfucking Karl. It kind of works.
Yeah, that'll, you know what, well, that'll be like, that can be our superhero names.
Yeah, it's interesting curse words around the world. What works and what doesn't work. In Australia, they say the C word a lot, and like over here, it's not like just not acceptable. Don't
I
say it.
did have somebody on my podcast a while back. They're like, oh, it's the C word. I'm not going to say it. But then at the end of the podcast, not only did they say it, but they said it in a British accent. So
Yeah,
it's, it's great.
totally acceptable over there.
Well, the
Yeah.
person's not even British. They're
Oh,
Canadian.
oh, but if you
They're,
say it with some sort of accent, you feel like you're getting away with something.
yeah, probably. Okay, let's move on. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound noise do I love? Gosh, I should answer these questions though. I like I like I like the sound of doggies panting.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Loud birds.
I was going to say, I feel like it's going to be bird related.
I'm gonna go back to birds every time. It's not a hate for birds. It's just like not my choice of animal.
So you just like, you see a pigeon and you're like, ugh.
No, I think they're beautiful and they're away from me. But if I had to house sit for a parrot once, and it
Oh.
really turned me off. I was like, you're smelly, you're loud, and you do not stop. And like in the middle of the night when you're sleeping, it just hear like a bird going like the loudest thing you've ever heard. And you're like, that's gonna be in my brain for the rest of my life. It's gonna be on my spine the way I hear a bird.
All right, well, let's move on. What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Housing, contracting, or just like ripping down walls and putting new ones up, that kind of stuff. It's sort of
Hmm,
what my dad does, what my brother does. It's in the blood.
nice. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh gosh, what profession would I? Yeah, probably like cleaning out sewers would suck.
Yeah.
Even though I appreciate the work, we need our sewer systems. Thank you, sewer cleaners.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Mm. You lived your life with passion.
So I don't know how to add and that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. I think it. I think, life is to be lived, and I think when you get to heaven, if you feel like you've lived a full life and lived it as honestly as you can, then hell yeah. Like, come on up. We appreciate you for all the passion that you've lived. And I feel like I try to do that in everything I do.
Well, Andy motherfucking Carl. You can stay on after we're done recording, but thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you,
Is there
Pat.
anything, of course, is there anything you want to add before we end this? Go see Teeth, New World Stages, get your tickets now. Go on
Yeah.
Halloween if they're opening then.
Yeah, and yeah, that's literally all I have to add. That's I'm so excited for it because my anticipation is happening right now because I'm waiting to start rehearsals and I can't wait to get in the room. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've never been more excited about something and knowing that it's something very special and very very weird and pushing the boundaries of what we like in the theater, what we love.
I'm very excited to see it. So for those listening, go see Teeth. Andy Karl, thank you again so much for coming on to the podcast and have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, guys.